All right, y'all. Welcome to the Round Table discussion. We just finished playing a full playthrough of GMT Games Spacecorp. Used to playing with Spaceports now. Spacecorp plays over 3 eras: space exploration, building bases, and gaining points essentially the whole way through. I'm your host, Edward Euler. You guys know these folks.
I'm Jess.
Con.
Greg.
All right, so we've all played this game multiple times. At this point, we'll start on that side of the table. So first off, thoughts on the game in general.
Oh, boy. I don't know that I want to lead with this because I just don't have a good impression of the game overall.
Meaning you don't like it, or meaning it doesn't, you don't have a good feel for it?
I don't like it.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that. Why?
I feel like there's a lot of things where actions are just happening and you get to just witness them and go, ooh, that was a nice thing that happened to somebody else. There doesn't feel like a lot of choice. It's just decisions. You're just making decisions.
Okay.
But the random factor is a big problem for me. It's just too random and there's no control on it. You can't pump the brakes and try and figure your way around it. It's just, oh, all right, now this build 4 is now a build 18.
Right.
I guess that's what it is now.
Okay. How about you, Colin?
Well, I'm going to be like complete opposite of Greg.
Okay, all right.
I love it.
Yes.
Okay.
Because, like, I actually like the randomness because it's fit with the theme perfectly. Because we're talking about exploring space and doing science. There's no guaranteed results in anything. So it's like you just have to try to prepare yourself as best as possible when those things happen. It's like when I set up my progress card, I kind of prepare myself so I wouldn't worry so much about those aliens. Because I know it's like if that happened to you and you don't have those cards, you're like, screw. So it's like, so you kind of have to go in and like kind of prepare yourself that there's going to be some random things going to happen to you. But I think that the randomness actually is make the game even better. Because it's make the game more realistic. Because if you can just plan out, it's like, okay, so if I just do this, that, and I know exactly like 3 turns, nothing's going to change, then it's like, it's not as fun as like playing something like this. And I don't think it will be as thematic for a space game where you can plan out like 6 turns.
There's got to be some random factor.
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
that makes sense. How about you, Space Rex?
Space Rex likes this game. The first time I played it, I did not like the first 2 eras, though. So at first, I thought it was too random. I got some really bad. Everything I flipped over were things I couldn't industrialize, and it just or refine. I wasn't getting any production value. It felt like I was very pigeonholed, kind of to what you said, Greg. Like it just what was coming out was controlling my decisions. So in the first 2 eras, I felt not fun. And then we got to the third, and I really liked it. I loved that there was like this ramp up that you had to wait till you got to the inner core of the star to do something. It kind of gave me breathing room with the random factor, I felt like, because even if I drew or didn't have the right cards, it gave me time where I didn't feel like, oh no, I'm falling behind because I should be. I was waiting to get into the inner core of the star anyway. So researching or grabbing cards kind of helped mitigate that risk. And you do learn quickly you need to mitigate that randomness with getting enough cards or having enough breakthroughs or adaptations to get around that.
So for me, my original play, I really enjoyed the first 2 eras, and the 3rd era felt like a glorified victory lap of just get points. And that hasn't changed my feeling. I really don't like I understand where you guys are coming from, and I can appreciate. I see why people would like that, but for me, I think overall the game's fine. It succeeds in what it's trying to do, but for me, the fact that the 3rd era removes essentially all interaction unless it's happenstance, because a lot of these Glory to Roams, there were a couple that came out to where it was, okay, two people were going for the same, the same thing, and one person got there faster. Because at its core, this game is a race game. But for me, all the interaction just was happenstance in the third era, and it removed all. It just it felt horribly random. The interaction felt random, and it never felt intentional. And that's not why I'm playing games nowadays. So I think as a solo game, I think this would do really well because you're not looking for interaction in a solo game. At least that's for me. So overall, I think it's fine. It succeeds in what it tries to do. My other thing is it definitely overstays its welcome in the third era. And there's the big, I wrote down here, how do you slow down somebody in the third era? Because if there's no interaction, you can't do it. So basically, by that rationale, if you can't interact, which means you can't slow them down, it means the third era has already been decided before the third era really kind of starts. Doesn't it?
No, I don't feel that way at all.
Why? Because if I can't slow you down.
You can.
How?
Just like we went to the same star up there. You could have built before me. There is some competition you can do, especially when you're getting into these contracts. You know, there's only so many multiple star regions, things that are adjacent.
See, and I disagree because of the fact that in the first two eras, and understand, you did a better job of setting up for the third era. There's no denying that.
How did I set up for the third era?
I keep hearing that set up for X era.
I wasn't planning on the third era.
I don't know how to do that in this game.
I don't think I did.
I
only had moves, which really mean I had to change my whole infra. So I didn't set up in my infra at all. I did make sure I got out, but I didn't get out first or second in the first era. I was well behind on when we went into the third era, which you rightfully said things can change.
Yeah, I know, things can change.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it's like I never get any of the Beyond tokens at all. And I was like, I mean, I still do pretty well. It's not like Beyond tokens like the thing you need to get.
No,
so there
agree.
is like multiple way of winning. So like for like even Starfarer, because I play a 2-player game like last night where we were just like, even though we're like not competing on the board, like fighting for like the star system, there's still like back and forth because we just try to like, once I realized like I couldn't really like get the compete some of these contracts.
Right.
I just going for production instead. I did twice production when I have like bunch of cards. I get like 14 points twice.
Sure.
So like there's other ways like you like I guess in the Starfarers, if you're looking for direct competition on the board, you're probably not gonna find that. But there are competition in somewhere else.
I mean, look how many Glory to Roams there are.
In the first two eras, I agree with you, and I really enjoyed the first two eras. I just really don't like the third era.
See,
in
but
this
you're
game.
competing over these. I made sure I took the 4, even when I could have taken a 5 and left my guy out here, because I knew that would mean somebody else couldn't get that 4. It would still give me the right amount of points. It was close enough. So there's still this kind of competition of I'm watching what you're doing. I was waiting for you that whole time. Are you going to build? Am I going to build?
It was a build of 28. I couldn't do it. You know why?
You could have doubled mine.
Oh, you know why?
Why?
I didn't draw the build cards, so I couldn't do it.
If you had the time card, you could have built times mine.
That's
how I did it.
200?
Yeah.
No, out of about 90 cards or so.
So you start with one as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So the time cards are super powerful.
Those were already spent at that point.
Okay.
But my point is I couldn't build. I couldn't. I mean, I had a card that would have stopped you from building, but if I can't get the build cards,
Right.
I can't build.
Around,
I don't care that you have 14, double it. Okay, I have to get a time card to do that. So it goes back to that randomness.
Yeah, but there's more than just the 8 because you can also, so there's the researching for that. There's cards that allow you to pull other people's stuff. there's definitely.
But there's only so much time that I had to be able to do it before
front
you
of
were
you.
going to build.
It's
So
true.
I completely
to
disagree.
me, that's the interaction. Is
Yeah.
that you're
But-
trying to do that, I'm trying to do that. Then I
It's
do.
It's a
not
race.
even-
It's not.
It is
it's
a
not
race. It is
It
a
is a
race.
race.
It is a
It's
race.
two people running. One's running on foot, and the other one's riding a bicycle, and that's sort of what happened here. So you come in with your 14 build, and Edward's just like, "Oh, well, I have to leave. I can't compete with you there in time to do something else. So
Right.
why waste time here?"
But in this case, this 14 build is available to him too,
If he has a time card,
if he has a time card. Yeah.
right? Otherwise,
Or even if he, well, yeah,
and
depending.
he just runs away because that's the smarter choice.
Yeah.
And in doing so, he concedes it to you, and you have a time card.
Yeah.
Oh,
I could have
get the
just
thing.
as easily not, I guess, is my point. So in this
Sure.
case, yes, I had the time card and he didn't. There's other ways to get it. But I mean, and I hear what you're saying because I felt like that, but I felt like that in the first two eras the first time I played, where I felt like everything I was flipping for discovery tiles didn't do anything for me. I couldn't get the points I needed. And then the randomness kind of switched. But yeah, there is randomness in this
Oh
game.
yeah.
Yeah. No, there are.
I mean, so ultimately, 5.5 hours for the stream total, right?
Mm-hmm.
Way too much randomness for now. Obviously, the breaks and streaming adds time and the whole 9 yards. But even at a 3+ hour game,
It's way too much random.
it's not my cup of tea
Yeah.
for that.
I mean, I can see it. It's like, for me, it's like last night's game and tonight's game. I did not feel like we spent 5 hours.
Yeah.
Like last night,
Oh,
the game itself. Like I didn't feel like I spent
No,
just
it
5
flies
hours.
by for
it
me.
flies by. It's like
Yeah.
so like
And I wonder, see, for me, the first two eras, I was enjoying. I was in. On this one, I was just completely disengaged from the game. It felt like because just the third era just doesn't do it for me. I just do not like the way
The
this.
last-
Yeah.
And you won the first game.
Yeah,
You
and-
were
yeah.
uncatchable in the first game that well, I can't
Well,
say
no,
that.
he
We were
wasn't
all pretty
uncatchable.
close. No, you
That-
were winning.
That's actually something that bothered me a lot. I was ahead by so much in the
That's
second
true.
era, and I'm told multiple times, don't worry about the third era's. Third era changes everything. Third era changes everything. So why did we do the first two eras?
Yeah.
Why did we do the first two eras? And I don't feel like those first two eras I did anything at all. I feel like I walked around, I did some points, I killed some time, and then now we're in the last era. There's too much nothing happening for how long the game goes. There's too much, okay, cool, you did all that, that was worth 10 points, and now we're going to move on to the next thing. Ignore all the progress you did, ignore all the actions you did. Now we're moving on, clean slate, except you're 30 points behind. Good luck.
So, your thoughts didn't change. My thoughts kind of didn't change because I enjoyed the first two eras, didn't enjoy the third. Yours did from the first game, right?
Well, I think in the first game they changed once I got to the third era, so that's true. But yeah.
Okay. And how about you, Con? You've just liked it from the word go?
yeah, because it's like I play. So this is my third time playing. First time I played solo, and that was fun because it's like the solo like system of this game is really easy because you just use the other era's deck and then just flip open and then the cards say what the AI is going to do. And
Okay.
then you just do it. And then the game is then the rest of the solo game, when on your turn, you do exact same thing you would against other people. So like when you're playing solo, you feel like you're playing a two-player game.
Okay.
So I enjoy that. So like it's good. Like I think it's a good solo game because like the system is easy to run. And then I play a two-player game. That was like the scoring at the end was like the other person beat me by 3 points
Oh,
at
nice,
the end of the
nice.
game.
Yeah.
Like we were just battling. We just like, oh, you got 6 points, I get like 5 points just to keep up. So it's like, the point scoring is like not as like the gap is not as big as this game. So I don't know whether it's just like that just happened to randomness align to make it like that, or maybe this game is better for 2 players. Like when it's 4 players, there's like introduce a lot more randomness. So, but I think like I enjoy this game.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fair
me
enough.
too.
So let's see, Cave Hines, have you seen a lot of runaway leaders in your games? Not really.
No, it
I mean,
switches
we
back and
did in
forth.
this one, but I don't know that.
But
No,
beginning
she-
of this, I wasn't.
Yeah, true.
I was behind.
Right,
And
so-
then I came forward.
Yeah, I guess, and the same thing happened in our earlier play, our earlier 3-player, to where they came from behind and won.
Yeah, I
so.
felt like starting in hour 3, I was out, and then I came in second. So that,
And Tim asks, Greg, did you like certain eras?
No. I didn't hate the first bit of the game, but I also, like I said, I just don't feel like you're doing anything. There's no good goal to those eras. There's just...
It's setting up for future eras. That's what this game is positioning yourself to be able to gain a lot of points in the third era. That is the crux of the game,
Yeah.
right?
And I feel like there's no meat there. It's just broth.
All right, fair enough. James asks, do you think there's competition between nearby systems to get the higher value colonies?
No.
Not really. Did you guys?
I don't even notice that there's other people in this era. When I'm thinking about the colonies, I'm not thinking...
I did, but this really influenced my decision because there were a lot of points
Talking
still
about
available.
the business display.
So for the
yeah.
contracts, like being able to bump up and grab those contracts was more important to me. But then when we got to this point, I wanted to get more colonies, but
Right. It's simply, honestly, at least the way it's been in our game so far for the colonies is, okay, what's going to score me the most points? I'm
Yeah.
going to take that. Very, very tactical in that
Yeah.
regard, except I got the first colony. Well, you guys are going to go after colonies. It makes sense
Yeah.
for me to go ahead and
Yep.
mooch off of you guys. So outside of that, and Eric says, I don't know what your other games of this have been like, but I didn't see much direct competition in the first 2 eras. Everyone just picked some place to go where no one else was. Even in regions where multiple people had teams, no one built bases where others owned the discovery tile. That's been the case so
we weren't
far?
giving away points by grabbing tiles, but there was still points where I'm trying to build 3 in a region to get a contract, and somebody else comes in, and you really have to have this is where I like the randomness in it. If you have just a plan and you are planning, especially in era 3, this move impacts this move, what I build, does the colonies. You need to have a plan B and C and D too, because. And that's where those cards having multiple uses helps, being able to use the other infra, your own.
But you've got to be able to get the cards to be able to do that stuff.
Collect them, research.
There is that.
Yeah.
No,
It's not even that. You gotta flip over the right tile. You gotta get the right
Oh,
color.
I've been there. Yeah, I've had the bad tiles.
And so, that's an interesting point is do you focus on just making a really attractive infra to where people will just get you free cards to where then that helps mitigate the randomness? Then is that your it just doesn't feel good to me.
Yeah, I know.
Kind of like, what? But this
I know.
Yeah.
It's like,
John, do you think the perceived weaker parts of the game can be fixed with optional rules or an expansion? I'll be honest, John, I don't know. That's not my job. And I'm not being trite with that. It's just I don't know. Go ahead.
well, like the thing you're talking about, like Starfare, where like everyone just spread out and there's no competition. I mean, maybe like optional rule is like we just not gonna play half the map. Maybe that would make more competition.
But if you look at the board, if you look at everything out here
filled
now,
it.
we filled it.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't necessarily think that's the case there, really.
And we all
not
had
only do we-
3 regions. Yeah.
Yeah.
You ended up here, but everybody was
Yeah.
in 3 areas.
So it feels like a race game in that if you have positioned yourself well and or drawn well, you're in the driver's seat, and then it's just a matter of okay,
but again, I did not lead at the beginning of this era.
But you got a good infra going in the third era, and you drew really well.
I had to change to that though. That took me
But
time.
you did.
Yeah, I did.
You did it, and it just it felt like the game's on rails a little bit. It didn't to me.
Okay.
So, do you think the randomness compares the dominant species? I don't. Now, for those that know, Dominant Species is one of my favorite games.
Same.
And Dominant Species for me is, if you know the cards in the game, you can mitigate the danger and the randomness of that by, okay, this hasn't come out, or, oh, this is out this round, so I need to make sure that I don't speciate a whole lot, or be able to mitigate the disaster that the cards are in that. So I feel like that has a lot less randomness.
But you're using experiential learning to mitigate that, which means.
But it's
then
5
there's gonna
cards, and you know what the 5 cards are at the beginning of the round before you take your actions.
Right.
So no,
Okay.
I think that's apples and giraffes, honestly.
Okay.
What about y'all?
I haven't
never
played the
played.
game.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. All right,
Yeah.
cool.
So good. We'll have to fix that.
So, comparable to High Frontier and Leaving Earth. Haven't played Leaving Earth. Have you
I
guys?
played Leaving Earth. I have only played Leaving Earth solo.
Okay.
Because I don't know if Leaving Earth is like really good for multiplayer.
I've heard it solo even when you're playing it 4 players. That's
Yeah.
what I've heard. But
So, the thing is like Leaving Earth is more like there's lot more calculation. You definitely need a calculator to do that.
kind of like High Frontier.
Yeah. So because you have to figure out like how much thrust a rocket can do on like mass, so you have to calculate all that. So it's like that's why like I think that should be a solo game, because like
Sure.
otherwise someone like take like 10 minutes to figure out, then just like take way too long. So I think this is easier to get into than Leaving Earth. Like Leaving Earth is really trying to be as realistic as you can be, like on like a space exploration theme game. But there's also randomness in that game too,
Sure.
where there's like every time you launch a rocket, there's like each technology, there's like 3 like cards that like whenever you use it, you have to flip one of them.
So something bad could happen.
It could
right?
happen.
Yeah,
So
sure.
if you I mean, you could mitigate that, but sometimes you kind of have to push your luck. And then if you plan a giant mission to like Mars, and then the first launch from Earth, major failure, and then just the whole thing explode, then just like your game's pretty much shot. So it's like,
And High Frontier has a fair bit of randomness in it as well because of similar things. So those are, from what I'm hearing, Leaving Earth seems to be a heavier game. I know High Frontier is. I was surprised at how, for as many rules as there are, this game actually is really intuitive, and it's
Yes.
very streamlined, and it plays really quickly for the first 2 eras. And then it drags, I feel, in the 3rd era.
See, I love the third era.
But it just but comparing this to a High Frontier, it's completely different. It has a similar theme, but they're completely different games in that High Frontier is a considerably heavier and rules heavier game than this.
It has randomness too, though.
Oh,
You
it
could
totally
get
does.
knocked right back to Earth. And
Yeah.
things
Oh,
can
you
happen.
can, roll bad and,
Right,
horrible.
so-
100%. And I'm not saying that is better. I'm just pointing out that at least that this one's lighter than that, and it
Yes.
goes quicker than that, at least the first 2 eras. So there's
Yeah.
that.
so I think it's like, if you like space theme and like more realistic like simulation space, like trying to simulate how space exploration, like this is like a good intro. Like this is probably like medium weight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
game.
a good entry level
Yeah.
for that type
Yeah.
of game.
Yeah,
I
so-
think so.
So yeah, so like this is like a 3X game, really, a space 3X game. There's no
Yep.
yeah. So it's like I think this will be a good intro into like a
Bigger, heavier.
heavy-
Yeah,
yeah.
fair enough. All right. So there you go. So we got half of us, half loved the game.
Yeah.
yeah.
A quarter of it, like 2/3 of the game,
But
and not so much. And that's okay.
yeah.
This is good for people to see,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah,
I
Form
think
your
so.
own opinions based
Yeah.
on.
On the
And-
playthrough,
that,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And this game, since it's like 3 games in a row,
Right.
if you only like the first 2 era, you can
Play
just
those!
play
Just
the
play
first
those,
2.
right,
Yeah.
So there you go. Whew. That's been a long day. That was a lot of fun, though. I enjoyed it. The
Yes.
company, the
I mean,
peanut
yeah.
gallery.
I had fun,
Right.
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean I had fun because of the game.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
So, hey, there you go. So hopefully,
Yes.
cool. All right. Well, appreciate it, everybody. If you guys enjoyed the stream and you enjoyed the roundtable, don't forget like and subscribe down below. If you want to go one step further, other side, right there. You can go to pledgehc.com, support the show there. Really would appreciate it. That said, it was a really good game of the month. I think the fact that we've been able to try it over the course of a number of games and see if or if not our thoughts have evolved, I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed that as well. So thanks y'all for doing this. That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
And hopefully next month we find a game that you enjoy more.
That's the thing that's weird about this. I'm usually very positive towards games too.
No, it just doesn't fit for you. Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
There's
All
plenty
right.
more games out there.
exactly. Oh yeah, there's thousands.
Way too
Right,
many,
yeah, exactly.
honestly.
All right. So I'm Edward.
Jess.
Con.
Greg.
All right. You guys take care. Thanks everybody for watching,
Bye.
and we'll see you all next week. Take care, everybody.